Learn today's latest January transfer news as we have even more updates on our efforts to sign Enzo Fernandez in this January window. To move on, we discuss the injury news around Reece James, plus even more updates behind Joao Felix and a potential loan move. And to end with things, we discuss the official announcement from the club over this young signing. So we got a ton of things to break down and discuss today. I hope you guys are ready. Honestly, I feel like this January potentially could go down in the history books because some of the players, some of the talent and prospects we are looking to sign, honestly, it's incredibly exciting things. So if you guys are gassed for this window, hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions. But before we get into anything, let me get one big plug out of the way first. Right now, there is a new episode of the Last Fan Standing series on Betfix's YouTube channel. I'm going to play you guys a brief clip now.
There's only one answer to this, and look, I think United fans last season, they called Ronaldo the second coming. He scored 18 goals in the Premier League last season. Erling Haaland's already scored matched that number, and we're barely halfway through the season.
Now I get it. I mean, the guy is setting like goal scoring records like it's absolutely nothing right now, but on the other hand, a part of me feels like, well, if you're playing for Man City and you're constantly receiving exquisite service all the time, I'm expecting you to score quite a lot of goals. At the same time, should we only just judge the quality of a player's season depending on the goals he's scoring? What about the influence for his team? You look at players like Bruno Guimaraes or even Almiron and Newcastle who have really stepped up tremendously this season, and you could argue would definitely get into the team of the season, plus guys like Xhaka, plus a host of other players that have stepped up and had big influences on their team's hopes this season. What do you guys think about that? Share your thoughts and opinions, and if you guys want to get involved in the video, there is the full episode link in the card above and description below, so give it a watch. So right now, let's get this small story out of the way first, and it's been confirmed now on the club's official website that we have reached a deal to sign David Fofana, which means that on the 1st of January, in a few days time, he officially becomes part of the squad. Now, knowing the fact that he is 20 years old, a part of me is assuming that he will remain with the first team, build some experience, get used to the league, and be that replacement for Broja. Of course, having like young backup and talent in Fofana, alongside someone like a Joao Felix potentially that can play across like the left, the right, and up front, I think that would be great business for this window. And I'm really excited to see what Fofana potentially can bring. And I'm really happy for him because, this kid has the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of his idol in Didier Drogba, and I just think it's a great story, to be honest with you. So good luck to David Fofana. I hope he's going to be an incredible success, and I hope that his signing will be like a big success for the new way in which we're trying to do business. Todd Boehly has spent a lot of money bringing in new staff, advisors, lots of scouts as well too, to help find talents like this that aren't necessarily getting the buzz across Europe, but the data shows these guys have real promise and potential, and potentially Fofana could be the leading face of this new way of doing business. So how do you guys feel? Are you excited to see Fofana play? And do you think he is going to remain with the first team for this season? So right now, let's move on to the next big story. So let's move on and let's discuss the updates behind Reece James and his injury after the Bournemouth game. Now, I'm sure that all of us felt the same way. It was a real downer that after yesterday's impressive performance back, Reece James picked up another injury, and I think we all saw for ourselves the impact that his loss had when he came off with the injury. Of course, when Azpi came on, we didn't necessarily have that same attacking thrust on the right-hand side, and when you're losing out on a world-class player like Reece James, of course, that's going to have a negative impact on the team. So after the game, Graham Potter was crossing his fingers that it wasn't going to be like a severe injury. We've got confirmation behind how long Reece James will be out now, and it looks like he's only going to be out for between 3 to 4 weeks. Obviously, it's quite worrying that both Fofana and Reece James have picked up the same injuries in like quick succession right now. So I do think that these guys need more time to get rehab to build that strength again to come back. Now, some could argue that maybe Reece James should have been replaced once it was the second half, or even before the 60th minute, to just slowly build him up again so he can get ready to take part in like intense Premier League football. Still, when Reece James does come back, let's hope that he doesn't pick up any more reoccurring injuries to his knee, because in The Athletic, it does report that if he was to pick up another injury in the future, he would definitely need to get surgery, and if you're getting surgery, that's going to make things long rehab's going to be long. Let's hope things don't get that bad. Anyway, on Twitter, Reece James did express his remorse behind the injury he had. As Reece said, 2022 has been the toughest year to date. Just want to thank you for all the support. None of you go unnoticed. It's naturally affected me mentally. I'm currently just trying to deal with the cards I've been dealt. I hope your end of year is filled with peace, joy and happiness. And obviously, I can understand the frustration he'll be feeling. You know, Reece James worked really hard to get back to full fitness. Of course, missing out on the World Cup would have been a massive blow as it is, because this year has been dominated by injuries after injuries, and I think that we must do everything we can to give full protection to probably the best young player at this football club. Now, this brings up interesting questions now about what we do as a replacement. Do we go back into the market to sign Dumfries? Now, of course, the positive is we have competition for Reece James, and we have someone that can play ahead of him when Reece James is out. But at the same time, after the World Cup, Dumfries is at an absolute premium right now. And in my opinion, I think he's way better as a wing back where he has protection behind him compared to playing as a right back. I think for the money that Inter Milan want, it's not worth it. Of course, there's other reports linking us to many players, and I think I'll discuss the right back options in tomorrow's video instead. But on one hand, is this an opportunity now for young Dion Rankin? At 20 years old, he has been training consistently with the first team. He has been impressive. I thought he looked very good against Aston Villa in the friendly like a few weeks back. And he is someone that could challenge for places down the right hand side. In my opinion, I feel like big clubs always have the windows and money to help them out from tight situations, but I think in that sporting essence, you should turn to what you have already. I think Rankin could be like a very interesting backup solution for now, knowing the fact that Reece James isn't going to be out for like 3 or 4 months, but only 3 to 4 weeks, so there's an opportunity here. Regardless, I feel like it makes more sense to target right back competition for next summer. I'm looking at someone like Livramento. We have the release clause on him, but with Southampton right at the bottom of the Premier League table, you'd imagine that if they were to get relegated, you could possibly sign Livramento for way less than his buyback options. So I definitely think that he is someone that could be quite smart to actually bring back. Anyway, you guys, hopefully Reece James comes back better, fitter and stronger. So right now, let's move on to the massive updates behind our efforts to sign Enzo Fernandez in the January window. I'm going to recommend that you guys watch yesterday's video so you're fully up to date on everything Enzo Fernandez. Anyway, we have some brief updates today, and it has been confirmed that the club are willing to spend even more money than Fernandez's release clause in hopes of signing the player. So essentially, we're looking to do another Nkunku style deal to pay more money than our rivals, hopefully to steal the march on him and sign him over them. As I said in yesterday's video, already we have officials in Lisbon actively working on this deal as we talk. And for me, this makes complete sense. You have big clubs like Man United, Liverpool, even Madrid, plus a host of other clubs that are actively looking at Enzo Fernandez. For me, he is the type of player that instantly improves and upgrades any single team he signs for. And the last thing I want to see is Man United finally having a midfield that is ready to challenge for the league. I think that domestically we have to get a one-up over our rivals. He can't go there. If Fernandez comes to the Premier League, we must be his only option. Now, over the years, we've had a great record at signing some top players from Benfica. It started first with Thiago back in the 04-05 season, then guys like Ramirez and cult figures like David Luiz signed, and later on Nemanja Matic came and really just improved the team even more. So I do think that Fernandez potentially is following a legacy of great imports from Benfica. Let's hope we get it done. But let's go back to the actual updates and news. We're willing to pay more than 120 million euros. Reports suggesting it's between 127 million and 130 million euros. Now you might be wondering, Nini, why are we looking to pay more money than his release clause? Well, when you activate a release clause, it assumes that you're paying the full amount in one go, which is an incredible amount of money to give away in just one go. However, if you pay more than the release clause, it gives you the opportunity to pay the fee in installments. So basically, I'm sure that most of us have all played Football Manager. We've all been in situations where the budget is a bit thin and we want to sign a player to improve our team, and normally you pay over the odds knowing that you're paying for the full amount in installments over like 5 years. It's basically the same thing here, And hopefully this gives us more flexibility to set the terms and installments that we want to pay for Fernandez. Now, the money seems to be no issue behind this deal. The main thing will be to persuade Benfica as well as Enzo Fernandez to leave now to sign for us now. Enzo may be thinking, I'm on an absolute high right now. I mean, I've won the World Cup, I've made history at a young age. I want to make history with Benfica before I move, and I know that every single club will still be after me in the summer window. So I definitely understand that perspective. It's up to us and up to Jorge Mendes to help us persuade him to sign for us now. For me, it's kind of crazy that in the space of less than 6 months, he's just recently signed for Benfica, and already he could be sold for over £100 million. That is just ridiculous. And I don't know, it's just kind of baffling to me that a lot of big clubs didn't even go for him once he was at River Plate, because he had a massive reputation there. And it's like, you're telling me the World Cup gave you enough confidence to instantly splash out like 5 times his transfer value immediately? Sometimes I don't understand how the game operates, but it is what it is. And if we can sign Enzo Fernandez, who for me could be like that Toni Kroos in our midfield, someone that could potentially just take our game to the next level, who could be one of the leading midfield players of his generation, it makes sense to pay the money for him right now to get the deal done. I see Fernandez and Rice as the successors of Jorginho and Kante. It looks like that's what we're actually working towards. And if we can have Mount, Rice and Enzo with incredible options behind, like, I don't know, maybe Gallagher if he still remains, guys like Carnes, guys like Casada who should break into the team, plus Santos and many others, we have one of the most exciting young potential midfields in Europe right now, and I think it's just incredibly exciting times. Right now, Man United could be our strongest competition. Liverpool aren't going to sign him now. They prefer to make a move in the summer. Right now, they're trying to sign Amrabat from Fiorentina. And with Real Madrid going for Bellingham, this feels like the opportunity now to make a move to hopefully get this deal done. Now, there's definitely going to be even more Enzo Fernandez updates, so make sure you guys stay tuned to Blue Lines TV to get the latest news. So right now, let's end with things by discussing the latest updates behind our efforts to sign Joao Felix on loan in this window. Now, the latest news suggests that we are getting more open now to striking a deal to sign Joao Felix now in this window. He's currently being offered by Atletico Madrid to Aston Villa, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man United and us too. And it has been reported that Atletico Madrid would want a loan fee of around nearly £8 million, plus his full wages covered, which is around like £5.5 million, with no option to buy or obligation to buy in the end. Now, ideally, Atletico Madrid would prefer an obligation to buy included. However, they understand that in the market in January right now, not many clubs have 100 million to pay in one go to sign anyone. So it makes sense for them to loan him out right now, and then in the summer, negotiate with him to sell him on a permanent, or, and this is a massive, big if Simeone was to leave potentially, there could even be an opportunity for Joao Felix to come back and to restart his Atleti career. It has been reported by Ben Jacobs that most of the suitors would be open to an obligation to buy if it was way below the reported £85 million Atleti want to actually sell Felix on a permanent. Still though, it seems like Atletico Madrid may not have as much power in their favour, because as time goes on, as this window continues to wind down to an end, if no club is going to reach their terms, they'll be forced to have to reduce the offer they want, which will work out more in our favour. In my opinion, I think that Joao Felix would be a great buy to sign for right now. I'd play him over guys like Aubameyang immediately. I think his flexibility in terms of how he can play across the front three is going to be key too. And the fact that he brings something that we don't currently have in this team, that 1v1 threat out wide. I mean, after seeing how Mason Mount played on the left-hand side as a number 8, I can imagine what Felix and Mount could do on the left-hand side. I think that flexibility, the rotations, the football would be mad. And I think that Joao Felix brings that X factor that I think top clubs like us really need to have in the first team. Now, as time goes on, I'm not going to be surprised if an option to buy is included in any potential negotiations. Most of the times it means absolutely nothing, because most clubs don't even buy the player at the end of the loan spell. But the reality is, we need to secure Champions League football. We need to do that. If we don't, that's going to set us back God knows how much. So I don't think David Fofana is enough. I think it makes sense to add one more attacking addition in this window. And if Felix is available on a loan, and if you know the fact too that someone like a Rafael Leao still has a possibility of remaining at AC Milan. I think either one of Felix and Leao would be the way to go in my opinion, and let's hope we can get this deal done as well alongside Fernandez in January. So right now you guys, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm EFC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.